All we're trying to do here is figure out whether a peace is possible. All these other things that people keep bringing up, that'll have to be a part of a negotiation. Right now, there is no negotiation. Shouldn't we at least try to see if there is a way to end this war in a way that's acceptable to both sides and is enduring and sustainable? How is that a bad thing? I really am puzzled why anyone thinks that trying to be a peacemaker is a bad thing. It's only a bad thing when it's Donald Trump trying to do it. When it's President Trump, it's absurd to me.
Well, even some of your Republican allies are puzzled by the steps that President Trump has taken to placate Vladimir Putin. I want to bring up a post that Lisa Murkowski.
Well, which ones? What steps has the president taken to placate?
This is Lisa Murkowski.
Marco Rubio destroys George Stephanopoulos' Russia trap, shuts him down live.
And here's what she says. This week started with administration officials refusing to acknowledge that Russia started the war in Ukraine. It ends with a tense and shocking conversation in the Oval Office and whispers from the White House that they may try to end all U.S. support for Ukraine. I know foreign policy is not for the faint of heart, but right now I am sick to my stomach as the administration appears to be walking away from our allies and embracing Putin, a threat to democracy and U.S. values around the world. Those are not my words. That's Senator Lisa Murkowski. What's your response?
Well, yeah, we're a free country. People have a right to these opinions. I would just say to you, what have we done to placate the Russians? The only thing we've done is say, are you guys willing to talk about peace? I say the same point. We're not giving that. We haven't given.
You voted with North Korea and Russia and you voted with North Korea and Russia and Belarus in the United Nations and against our Western allies.
No, let me tell you. All right. So you know what do you know what the United Nations resolution was? I'll tell you if you want to hear what it was. It basically said this has been a horrible war. It's time for it to end. The job of the UN is to bring about peace in the world. I thought that's what the UN was created to do, to stop wars and to prevent them. And that's what the resolution did. Was it antagonistic towards the Russians? No. Back to the point. But it also didn't praise the Russians. All it said is, this is a bad war. It needs to end. And by the way, at the Security Council, which has not been widely reported, the first resolution on Ukraine that has passed the Security Council in 3 years, passed this week because of the leadership of President Trump. And it's a resolution that says, bad war needs to end. Let's bring the two sides together. That's what the resolution is. Again, what is the United Nations for? Isn't it not a forum to promote peace in the world? And shouldn't we all be happy that we have a president who's trying to stop wars and prevent them instead of start them? And I just don't get it. I really don't, other than the fact that it's Donald J. Trump. If this was a Democrat that was doing this, everyone would be saying, well, he's on his way to the Nobel Peace Prize. This is absurd. We are trying to end a war. You cannot end a war unless both sides come to the table, starting with the Russians. And that is the point the president has made. And we have to do whatever we can to try to bring them to the table to see if it's even possible. I'm not promising you it's possible. I'm not telling you it's 90% likely. I'm saying it's 0% likely if we don't get them to a negotiating table. And the sooner everyone grows up around here and figures out that this is a bad war that's heading in a bad direction with death and destruction and all kinds of dangers surrounding it that could spiral into a broader conflict, the sooner people grow up and realize that, I think the more progress we're going to be able to make. But the president's crystal clear. He campaigned on it, and he's going to govern on it. And that is, he is going to be a president that tries to achieve peace, and he has been very clear this is a war that would have never happened had Donald Trump been in the White House, and it needs to end, and we're going to do everything we can to end it in an enduring and sustainable and fair way.
Marco Rubio wasn't having any of it. George Stephanopoulos tried to corner him with a Russia trap, but Rubio fired back and completely shut it down. You could see Stephanopoulos scrambling to recover, but it was too late. Rubio wasn't letting him twist the narrative. This is exactly why people are tired of the mainstream media's games. They push these loaded questions, hoping to trip up conservatives, but Rubio came prepared and wasn't backing down.
I want to know why our ally is allowed to disrespect the United States of America, the leader, the current leader of this free world.
J.D. Vance owes Zelensky an apology. President Trump owes Zelensky an apology for the way he was treated.
For what?
I demand it. What? I demand that they give
you demand. Okay, UN resolution number 2.
You're going to go ahead and say preposterous things like Zelensky owes an apology for being attacked. I'm going to go ahead and say something outrageous. Actually, I'm going to go.
If the price of you say that Ukraine wants peace,
I think J.D. Vance should resign. How about that? We're just going to go throw crazy stuff into the air.
You say Ukraine wants peace. Yeah. If Zelensky wanted peace, then he would have kept his mouth shut.
What? He did until there were lies.
What?
Until
Wait, what was the
J.D. Vance didn't lie about anything. They were talking about diplomacy. That's not what he was saying. That's not what he was.
This is just another classic example of the left and their double standards. Now we've got Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman running to CNN, of course, to demand that J.D. Vance resign and apologize to Zelensky. Seriously? For what? For daring to put America first instead of blindly throwing endless support behind Ukraine? Give me a break. J.D. Vance has been one of the few politicians actually standing up and asking the real questions. How much more money are we going to send overseas while Americans are struggling? Why should we keep writing blank checks when there's no clear strategy or accountability for where the money is even going? The fact that Vindman and CNN are throwing a fit over this just proves that Vance hit a nerve. It's the same old game. Anytime someone dares to question the establishment's narrative, they get attacked, smeared, and called unpatriotic. But here's the truth. America shouldn't be forced into endless foreign conflicts while our own country faces border crises, inflation, and rising crime. J.D. Vance is right to push back, and Trump supporters aren't falling for this nonsense. What do you guys think? Should J.D. Vance apologize, or is he the only one actually standing up for America? Drop your thoughts in the comments.